our whole culture is like do, seeking, getting things done, to-do lists, accomplishments, functions. And what really actually supports our well-being is warmth, which is the warmth of relational connection and play, and also cold showers and cold water are also very supportive of the endocannabinoid system, which I cannot bring myself to. I'm like, every day in the shower, I'm like, it would be really good for you, Sarah, if you would do some cold. And I'm like, no. So, but others do. Others are exploring the wonderful, healthful effects of cold water and cold immersion and sleeping on cold beds. Even people are doing, yeah, ice beds and things.
Ooh, yeah. Not my favorite.
And it's all in support of health and well-being, but the cold, it doesn't go towards the warmth and play for me so much. So
yeah, let's find other ways. Like warm water is a nice way of experiencing warmth.
Yes. I don't know if I've told you this. We have neuroreceptors in our skin that are actually made to perceive the body warmth of other humans. They're neuroreceptors that they're not made, like, they don't light up if we get too hot. They're not for that. They don't measure if we're being burned or if heat is dangerous. They're only there to tell us that other people are with us. And that's the warmth that our endocannabinoid system is looking for. It's looking for the warmth that comes from being held in resonance, in community, in connection, in relationship.
Yeah, so in that context, it's, of course, in a world where play is, in a sense, like restricted and warmth is impossible to come by as a result of the culture that we've built, like, of course we would seek substances that allow us to access those things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Something about the sort of connection to traumatic experiences and related to using cannabis or the endocannabinoid system and how cannabis works with that.
Right. Yes, there's a strong link between the way the brain tries to take care of itself after trauma and endocannabinoids. The brain tries to flush the memory systems with endocannabinoids after traumatic events in order to try to regulate and calm us after something really difficult has happened. So there's a very strong link between our efforts to recover from trauma and our endocannabinoids, which also, now again, we don't have the research for this to see how people with PTSD are using cannabis, and to be able, nobody's done that yet, or they may have, but it's not been it wasn't published as of last spring. So we can speculate that when we have been traumatized and we find cannabis soothing and supportive, then we may very well be trying to augment our brain's natural healing and regulating mechanisms in the aftermath of trauma. And of course, whenever we're talking about endocannabinoids or endogenous opioids or benzodiazepines, all of the endos, all of the ones that we make ourselves, are very quick acting and very quickly disappearing. We're in a constant experience of flexibility and flow and the movement of the neurotransmitters when we're not augmenting with external plant substances. But when we bring the plant substances in, then we start to change the way that timing happens for the brain. So part of what happens when we use cannabis medicinally for trauma is that, just like when we use opioids medicinally for trauma, which we can very easily do because they really impact the warmth circuit also, the care circuit also. When we do this, we're flooding our brain with the right substance, but it doesn't move through us in the same way. It's much longer persisting. So we'll see effects, for example, on math tests. If someone smokes cannabis or takes cannabis, and then for 3 days they have a decreased cognitive capacity. Whereas if the brain itself is creating an endocannabinoid flow from actual experiences of warmth and care, then it'll flash in, do its job, and flush out in a very different way.